Right, so it looks like we're on daybreak for this game, and in the upper right part of the map from the team Startail, and they do have their new logo on their new coats I just saw yesterday. It is Startail Curious.
I like that new logo, you know?
He's happy. It's a happy logo.
It feels cool. I like it.
And over here on the upper left part of the map, we have, from the team Incredible Miracle, we have I'm MVP. Not playing like an MVP today quite yet.
That new Startail logo's got kind of like an old feel to it. Like it's like a logo a sports team like, 40 or 50 years ago would have used or something. Yeah. I really like that.
Or like on the side of an ice cream truck or something.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about it I like. I didn't like their second version, I guess you could say, the one that they made and then decided to go back, and now they've made a new one. But I have to say I like this one, man.
It's not bad.
I like Curious a lot too. This guy really impressed me, and he didn't do as well as I expected to in Code S. Maybe he had a little bit of nerves. But, it's something Curious is actually not known for, so it's hard to say what happened to Curious and Code S. Do you have any opinions on that?
I don't know. I mean, there's always the obvious, which is a player gets into Code S and he feels the pressure of being in Code S and just kind of doesn't perform as well as he usually does. There's also the option that he gets into Code S and the fact is that he's just not ready for it yet. You can win Code A
without dropping any games and still not be ready.
Yeah, you can be unprepared for Code S, so that's a possibility too. And
he had a tough group too, Well,
what I think is most likely possibility is that he had the combination of a tough group, but also just had an off day. The best player is going to have an off day sometimes.
Absolutely.
So I think it's that for him.
Well, I think he'll be back in Code S in no time, especially with our new format. Yeah. I think he'll be back in before the end of the season, even, I would say.
Well, we'll see. Slayer's Boxer could be back in Code S by the end of the season, too.
It's entirely possible, man.
Yeah. These scary minerals, don't let him die. Those are important. All right, now let him die.
No deaths, man.
Yeah. Drone. It's kind of sad. He's
just barely escaped outside of that Marine, too.
Yeah. Well, it's good to keep your gatherers alive. You never know when you might need them.
Yeah.
For gathering later on.
Yeah, you can use them for gathering. In the drone's case, can also become a building. He's got a big career ahead of him.
Yeah.
Should follow that drone for the rest of the game and find out what he's going to become, man.
If you could mark certain units, that'd be good. You go back to him later and he's a Greater Spire and you're like, buddy, you've really made it. Yeah, I'm happy for you.
That'd be so sick, man. If I were a drone, I don't know if I'd rather be a Greater Spire or an Ultralisk Cavern.
Well, the Ultralisk Caverns have little mouths that are nom nom.
Yeah. How does a Greater Spire eat? I guess it just pulls nutrients.
From the creep. Yeah. That sounds boring. I think Ultralisk Cavern.
Yeah, Ultralisk Cavern can probably talk. I guess.
Maybe. It's like, hey, I'm a building.
The Evolution Chamber seems like it wouldn't be too tough. It looks like it's always sleeping. It's just got an easy life.
Well, the bad thing is if you would hit the hotkey and you'd go back and there's just this bloody crater in the ground, you're like, oh. It's like when they mark one of those dolphins for a science expedition. They're like, Jackie the dolphin was killed 3 weeks into the expedition by a shark, and you're like, oh, well, that's just sad.
Well, Evolution Chambers get used throughout the entire game too. They're very important structures. Where the Ultralisk Cavern, you may or may not see it, and if you do see it, it's got one upgrade, chitinous plating, and you may or may not even see that.
Infestation Pit. You're like a team player. Couldn't get the hive without you, buddy.
Yeah, very true.
Thanks a lot.
The Infestation Pit has to work hard though, and he has to get that upgrade out really fast.
Yeah.
Or else that timing attack's gonna kill you.
Yep.
Anyway,
and has to have something floating on them. That's kind of unique. Yes. Well, the Hellions expand.
The Hellions are controlling the map here.
Not too weird.
And he's. We're seeing a very passive game for both these players. Fast expand, hatchery first versus a one barracks expand. He's getting that second factory out now, in fact, to get even more Hellions out. And I wouldn't be surprised if we saw that pre-igniter upgrade come out pretty soon as well.
Yeah.
And, the problem for MVP, though, is he's not yet been able to make use of that command center.
Oh, look at this. Now, this is something that's been really common in TVZ lately in Korea, going double reactored Hellions.
Yeah.
And here's the thing is, you can potentially do a lot of damage with it, but if you don't, you are dead. It's basically all in.
Yeah, we were talking about this actually the other day.
Yeah, we were talking with Artosis about this.
Yeah, and we were talking, we were like, I don't know, is the 2-reactor Hellion build an all-in? In this case, actually, I think it's not, because this is a different one. This is a different one. This is after Command Center. This is a late one, and this is one that's been hidden from Curious. Curious has no idea this is going on, and he actually is going to be able to make these Hellions work. He's already got a Command Center up. I would not say this one is an all-in, but the one-base one that you hide it is definitely an all-in.
We're going to have to argue about this later, because I think it's still a little bit, even if it's not an all-in, I think it's very all-in-ish. Even if you're expanding, you're spending so much on those Hellions. You can't get your command center or engineering bay or anything quite as fast. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, I mean, well, I agree with all your points as well. And it definitely is a build in which he's not going to have a starport for quite some time. He does not have very many barracks. Like you said, he's kind of he's got a flimsy army.
Yeah, you dedicate so much to it. Anytime you mass a single unit, you leave yourself extremely vulnerable to certain
Look
things.
at that, man. There's only one spine Usurpers there as well, and I think Curious could be in trouble, man.
I think so too.
Here we go. That Queen is definitely in trouble. Drones coming out here to fight Hellions to try to surround them. Not the best decision-making there by Curious, I don't think, but what other option does he have, man?
He doesn't have any other option, Wolf. He is going to take a lot of damage with this.
These Hellions are going to be able to position themselves wherever they want now.
Oh, now here is what makes MVP good. He's not continuing to pump out 4 Hellions at a time. He's going, 1 or 2 Hellions, but he's making barracks and things like that behind it from the production queue. So this is not the all-in.
And you know what? He's also not allowing his Hellions to be surrounded while he kills drones. He's actually going to pick off drones here and there. Yeah, he's fighting them in the best possible way. Now he's going to be careful of these Banelings, though. Yeah, nice targeting there.
Decent surround by Curious, so he does catch a lot of the Hellions, and that is the end of that.
Well, right now it's 24 drones to 33 SCVs, 18 workers total killed there. But I think that was art, man, with how he used those Hellions.
It was a thing of beauty, that's for sure. And we were arguing earlier about that being an all-in. The situation we're talking about is where the Terran player continues to pump out Hellions after the attack starts. MVP didn't do that, so in this case, the way he did it's not an all-in, but
he's
a little bit different than what we were talking about.
He's going to fall perhaps here to a lot of pressure.
Boy.
There's not very many Marines out, and he did not save as many Hellions as he, I think, would have wanted to. I don't think he had any intention of losing all those Hellions. This is a huge counterattack by Curious. He's killing so many SCVs.
No kidding. Yeah, well, I mean, again, even though MVP did it in a safe-ish way, still, you do become vulnerable when you do this type of thing.
You just have very few bio units. And in this case...
Look at that.
Yeah, look at that. Only 8 workers different there and the workers killed, but it's much more important for a Terran player. I mean, like, a Terran player losing an SCV is much more impactful than a Zerg player losing a drone because the drones can be remade. Even though he has mules, now his SCV count is so low, and it's going to take quite some time for him to replenish that.
Curious has about double the workers right now.
And when you only have 20 workers and you're like trying to build a for example, a barracks with that worker, that means like 5% of your mining income from your SCVs is being used on that. Yeah. That's not good.
It's a scary way to talk about it right there. Pretty quick hive on the way from Curious as well. He knows that he's got a chance to maybe make a good amount of mutas before MVP can really respond to it.
I think Curious has got a pretty good grasp on this game, and he lost a lot of drones, but he engaged so well he didn't lose his queens during that fight.
Yep.
He transfused. Everything went well for Curious here. He did lose a lot of drones, but he's got control of this game. MVP trying to power up and get all of these barracks going. He's trying to make siege tanks, but now Curious can... Actually, I'd like to see Curious hide a base. I would not like to see him try to take his normal third. I'd like to see him make a macro hatchery and hide a base.
Well, the direction his creep is going, it looks like he wants to maybe take that normal third, but it looks
There's
like instead,
the base.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. That's a better option.
Yeah, because he knows that MVP has a force that does not have very many Marines, so he cannot afford to get caught by Speedlings. He's very unaware of how many Speedlings Curious is making. He's also scared of counterattacks. He knows his unit count right now is smaller than it would be in a normal game because of the Hellion build he did, because he lost all those Hellions. So Curious can hide a base to where if the attack goes over there, MVP is much less likely to commit to an attack to that third base.
Right, yeah, it would be really difficult for him to put anything down there and defend at the same time. So he knows that. Looks like he's going to push anyway. This is, that typical timing where you want to try to get there before the Spire comes out, make your opponent choose what to make, have to make a hard decision with that.
This counterattack.
Leaving a lot at home, too.
That was actually really smart by MVP because he took somewhat of a risk to send that small force out, because if there had been a ton of Zerglings in the middle map, he would have lost it. But he knew that Curious was going to go and try to go for a counterattack like that, so it was a really smart, sneaky move to move out like that with just not even a fourth of his forces, really. It was a tiny
he moved
force.
out with the type of army you had that he only had one factory with a tech lab, which is what I think Curious was expecting. He didn't know that there would be so many tanks at this point in the game.
Yeah, he probably expected MVP to sit back and make a third commander as well, whereas he did not. He added a ton of barracks, and this is a nice time to look at that tank splitting. And the Banelings do not yet have speed. They're about to, but it's not quite finished.
No, all the Banelings there are dead anyway. And MVP coming with a really strong push right now.
Look at that, unseizing the tanks at the back, being so patient with how he moves up here.
Yep. And he's going to move right up the ramp.
And with no Spire, man, it doesn't matter if the Marine count falls pretty low. He actually has so many Marines that even if there were a Spire, I suppose it wouldn't matter, but he's throwing away Marines to let the tanks do the real damage. And that's okay. There's a few more Banelings coming out here, but there's so many tanks. They're so well split, and the third base is now known about because of the way those Zerglings came.
A lot of reinforcements coming
Here we
across
go!
as well, and will this be enough? No micro at all from MVP.
Yeah, that was a little bit disappointing. But
What
look at this,
happened?
man.
All right, well, it was more units. That's good.
I think that's why he was trying to get those units across the map, making sure everything is rallied properly here, and just so many tanks.
He's got to be a little bit careful, though. I mean, there's still a good amount of Banelings. He needs to split up his Marines to stay safe.
Yeah, he did not split his Marines last time. He did not target fire the Banelings either.
Yeah, I don't know how much MVP is really going to be able to push this. Nice job that Curious to cut off reinforcements there as well.
Yeah,
and that's
really
exactly
smart.
what he needs to do. Yeah, I mean, he needs to cut off reinforcements. He needs to wait until the proper time to
This is
attack.
scary, man, for MVP. I think Curious can break this. And here he goes. He's going to go for it. Not controlling the best way, but Baneling's rolling in here as well. And yeah, he absolutely will break this.
Not a problem at all for Curious. MVP just not able to get any traction at all in this game right now.
And the Zerglings now are actually going to avoid this army again. He's got creep. He knows where the army is. Curious playing this so smart, man. Most Zerg players would have gone for those tanks, but he says, no, I don't have to. Those tanks are not going anywhere where I can't see them. I have creep this far out here because my creep spread is awesome. I have 2 spires. You know what that means, man.
What does that mean?
It means one of 2 things. Well,
it means a GG, I guess. Well, that didn't mean a GG, but GG anyway. And MVP is down 0-2. Not the best day for him yet today. You know, we just did get done talking about players having an off day, and I think MVP is definitely having one of those right now. But Curious goes up to 2-0. He is our current leader right now in this group.
Yeah. So our standings, guys, I'll list them off for you. MC is 1-1. Lion is 1-1. Polt is also 1-1. Curious being 2-0, and MVP very surprisingly going 0-2 so far.
Yeah.
We've got 5 more games.
Someone who we would say would be considered a favorite to win the whole tournament is looking like he might not even make it out of his group.
Yeah, very, very surprising to see. And yeah, Curious looking pretty strong at this point, man.
Yeah, I would say so. So we'll have to see what Game 6 brings us. I don't know if we're taking a break or something before that.
Yeah, we're going to take a 5-minute break, guys. When we get back, we'll jump into MC versus Polt, so don't go anywhere. Get some popcorn, get a soda maybe a Pepsi.
Maybe some pizza, maybe some asparagus if you're vegetarian.
Yeah, and then want to get some asparagus. Might want to get a quiche or something like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Some other vegetarian food. I don't know. I don't know too much of that.
All right, guys,
anyway.
we'll be back in 5.
Yep.